Hey everyone, Jason Emerson here with Inside Cool Music Magazine, where we bring you compelling stories from authentic musicians. Today I am speaking with Berta Moreno, jazz saxophonist, bandleader, composer, and producer, and we are going to take a bit of a musical tour to Africa and how spending time in Nairobi, Kenya, volunteering in a preschool inspired Berta to create her latest album, Tumaini. Berta, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us and be here.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, Jason.
Now, you are a native of Madrid, Spain. You moved to New York City in 2014 because, as you said in one interview I saw, if you want to play jazz, pretty much got to go to New York City.
Yeah.
So you have an impressive education. You've won numerous awards. You've toured through Europe, the US. Your first album was Little Steps a few years ago. Now, for our viewers who may not know you, maybe they don't really follow jazz at all, tell us a little bit about your background, how you found the tenor sax and how you found jazz.
Well, I found the tenor sax since I was a little kid, but for some reason it was difficult to get to it. So I have a little background of classical music, going through classical guitar in Spain, and clarinet, a little bit of cello and bass, until I finally could get a saxophone and a saxophone teacher. So it took me a few years of trying out different instruments, and I have a classical background, a classical music education on clarinet. And I was always like in love with jazz, with the idea of improvising, of being free, creating in the moment and being open, because I felt like classical music is amazing and I love it, but it was lacking this space for me to be myself a little bit more, right? So I started listening to albums and, going to the local library and borrowing CDs of Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane, Monk, whoever I could find. And just for a long time, I was just listening, because in my environment, there were not many jazz musicians in Madrid. So I didn't think that that's a music that you can play, but just you listen and enjoy. Until one day, speaking with some friends that they were a little bit more advanced in jazz and in improvisation, I realized that, of course, if I want to play that music, I could actually do it,
Right.
And I started from there, like taking classes, transcribing a lot. And I eventually moved to the Netherlands in 2010, and I got my bachelor's degree, my undergrad in jazz and saxophone. And then I came here. So yeah, one thing came after another. And
So that's fantastic. So you've played multiple instruments then, which must be a great advantage when you find the one you want to focus on. If you've tried so many different things and strings and brass and things like that in different countries and different musical styles.
Yeah. Was wonderful. At the beginning, I was thinking it was like a little bit of a lack, like I didn't focus from the beginning in the instrument and I lost time. But, with the years, I was thinking like the background I have, it allows me to have like a wider like knowledge of music and of the instruments, sonorities. And as a composer, I found it really, really useful. So I'm happy now about the journey a little bit twisted.
And I see the keyboard behind you. When you compose, do you start on the keyboard?
Yeah, actually, it's funny because I don't compose with a saxophone, because somehow I feel a little bit limited to the characteristics of the instrument. So I basically sit down on the keyboard and sing. I compose a lot by singing because I feel super free. I don't sing really good, but it frees me up. So I get bass lines by singing, or rhythms, or little melodies, and then I go from there. Right. So that's my little corner of inspiration.
Now, one thing I love when I discovered you and your music and your website and everything, what really grabbed me was your new project, was what you're calling the Afro-Jazz Soul Project and your album Tumaini, and really the journey that brought you to the album and to create this music. So, basically in 2016, you traveled to Kenya to volunteer at the Little Ray of Hope preschool. So tell us a little bit, why were you there? How long were you there? And really, what did you do there?
So I was, as part of a team, I was working here in New York with preschool kids, and we were doing a music program to facilitate language, like to learn Spanish through music or Chinese through music, like this type of program. And the head of the program had a contact with some women and some entrepreneurs in Africa, in this little neighborhood that was really, really disadvantaged, economically speaking. And we prepare a trip, and she said, let's go there, let's meet the kids. They are on a holiday break, and we can go there. We can help the teachers with the program to incorporate some tools for them to learn English, because they are trying to learn English to be more successful over there. And we just, I don't know, they asked me to go there as a saxophone player to play and to have fun with those kids. And I say, yeah, of course. And I didn't know what I was signing up for. I was like, okay, trip to Kenya, yeah, for sure. And I went there with a really open mind, because before I went to the trip, I was thinking, what can I give to those people? You know, they live there, it's completely different culture. It's like so rich, musically speaking, and they are so strong because, you know, the conditions they are living in, they are really challenging. And so I felt a little bit intimidated at the beginning, and I decided I'm just going to go with open mind. I'm going to go there, learn from there and from them, and see what happened. And it ended up like we were there for a little bit more than 2 weeks, and it was amazing because they opened their arms to us, and then we were having so much fun. We were singing together, we were dancing, we were basically just spending time with each other and learning from each other. And it was like super touching experience. They were little kids, and it was super amazing. Also, the opportunity to be in those neighborhoods, that it was not really a touristic trip. So I'm really like thankful that I had the opportunity to go there with local people, to learn how they really live, and to be inside the streets that otherwise it wouldn't be accessible for me.
Right.
Because it was not that safe.
So did you teach the kids, were you teaching them music, or were you teaching them English, or a little bit of everything, or just kind of whatever they wanted to know?
They were doing a program with the teachers mainly, and we were there just hanging with the kids. So basically we were trying to teach them some stuff, but, you know, basically for me, the approach was like, I'm going to stay with them. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to learn from their songs. I'm going to see how they do and just give them some love. They love to like jump on me and touch my hair and hug me, and, you know, like it was super fun. So I just became one of them, one little kid, and just learn as much as possible.
That's great. Yeah, it looked like you were having a great time in the video I found on your website explaining a little bit about the project.
Yeah.
So you called it in one of the videos, I think, or somewhere on your website, you called it a profound and life-changing experience. Is there really kind of one specific great moment that was just incredibly inspirational to you, or was it more of just everything, the whole trip together?
It was the whole trip together, but it was a really specific moment for me because I was in New York and I was not for so long, so I was still getting like, you know, used to the new environment, the new culture, like how fast things go, how like you need to make appointments to take a coffee with people. I'm like from Spain, so we are more like, you know, like hanging with people a little bit more improvised. And it was being hard for me to adapt at the beginning. I was having a great time, but it was hard. And I was feeling a little bit hopeless, like, because I was missing community. I was missing like people, you know?
Right.
And I went there and I found it. It was like a reminder that, yeah, this is still like happening and people are nice. And, you know, like it was like a special moment for me because I was a little bit down and having a hard time. And I went there and they gave me everything that I was missing, you know? So it was really impressive also to see how they were smiling and they were with such a positive attitude, living in those conditions. Like they didn't have like water to drink, like drinkable water. And you know, the houses they have, sometimes they are not even houses, they are like sheets of iron. And, you know, like it's really, really challenging. They are like really sick and they were like super happy. Like it was shocking to see how they have nothing, but they were sharing whatever they have. Like no holding up, you know.
Really?
And it was like, wow, if I can take that approach to my daily life and I come to New York and, you know, I remember how they are doing over there, it will be much easier to me. And also I thought if I do this album, I can spread like the philosophy around, you know, and help a little bit. So that was a little bit the purpose of it.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, I know what you mean about New York City. It's the only place I've ever been where there's just people everywhere. And yet you kind of feel alone because you're surrounded, but everyone's doing their own thing. And it's not like a small community, right? I
had to learn not to take it personal, but just see that everyone is really busy and everyone is really like into making something amazing and, you know, like creating and that's the beauty of New York. And I had to learn to see it from the other side.
Right.
not take it personal, like, oh, I'm so alone, I don't have time to meet with anyone. Yeah, this trip helped me a lot. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So when you came back, you created the Afro-Jazz Soul Project and you started composing the album. And at one point you said that while you were there, you found a renewed sense of hope in people and human values, like what you basically just said. So how did the trip really did it affect your playing at all, as well as your musical outlook, do you think? And
It
how
did
so?
affect, yeah, it freed me up a lot. I feel responsible of doing my thing and enjoy what I'm doing, and because they don't have those opportunities there. I was surrounded by a lot of little girls that they were super smart and they don't have many chances, you know.
Right.
And I was thinking, me as a woman, I feel responsible now to take my instrument and go and do things. No excuses, no crying, no nothing like that. And then this, like, it was like a big push for me. And also I take music in a different way now, like more to give to the audience, more to have fun, to get like a good vibe, to, you know, to enjoy and be there for people. So that was a huge change for me.
Do you think that this is this going to be a permanent change, do you think? Has this kind of changed the way you play in general, just the way that this kind of opened this up for you?
Yeah, I think so because it was a positive change. You know, I was not that worried about me, myself, how I play. Oh, this scale didn't sound too good. And, you know, of course, there is a bit of that, and you practice at home and you try to get better and judge yourself in a healthy way. But once you're in the stage, my approach was changing and was like, you know, now is the moment to give, is the moment to present what I'm doing and to enjoy also, to enjoy that I have this chance to do what I love that not many people have. So I think it's going to be a permanent change. Yeah.
So how did you start composing this album? Was it a thought? Was it an intention? Was it maybe a bar music in your head that you just decided to run with and it bloomed from there? Or?
Yeah, it was kind of a hard process. I enjoyed it a lot, but it was hard because it was more like a feeling, like all of these emotions and experience that I have, and it was so intense that it took me a while to put things into place when I came back. And for a long time, I wanted to do the album, but it was more like a feeling. And I was like, how am I going to put those feelings out? I don't know. Like, what is the connection with the music? And I started listening a lot of Lionel Lueke and, you know, more traditional African music. I was searching things everywhere. And after a while, I was kind of finding a direction. And then I also had like the name of the tunes already like pre-thought, because I really knew what I wanted to tell with each song. So it was more about to sit down on the piano and to find the right mood, the right keys, like the right grooves to tell what I needed to tell. So it was a little bit of just sitting down and searching, and trying to connect those strong feelings to something that musically will make the picture.
Right.
So it was fun and it was challenging because I never wrote this kind of music. I was more of a straight jazz ahead, kind of like post-bebop player and composer. And this was challenging to try to find other sonorities, to do other type of rhythms, and it was super fun. Yeah.
That's great. And yeah, and as you said, it's not just jazz, there's soul and Latin, a lot of African influence in it. So how did you try to achieve these things? Any particular rhythms or instruments, or was it all just kind of the flow just came with and you just went with it?
Yeah, it was more like sitting and trying, really. And basically I compose a lot of songs in this album, starting from the bass lines, in which like I will like maybe sit down and hear something like and imagine like the percussion behind it and trying to find the notes, and they're like, okay, what I can put on top of this bass line, and actually it's a 5/6 5/6. I will never write this like if I will write on purpose, but it just came out of the line itself. Like, okay, let's go with it. Let's see what can I do.
Right.
And a lot of times the melodies that I was singing or imagining, they were like changing meters in between, or like doing rhythmic modulations that I didn't write before, but it was like analyzing what I was thinking and hearing that it became that way. And I also was reading loud. I was reading some text I was finding in the internet, like in Swahili. So I wanted to get also like the rhythm of the speech, and some of the songs, I think, dance. It was written like that. I was like reading a text and I was recording myself and then tried to make that as a melody. So I don't know. I was doing all kind of things. It was like a playground for me to just have fun and search. So it was really fun.
Fantastic. That sounds like so much fun. And it has to be so fulfilling. And so this would probably have taken you, what, 3 years from 2016 or so, if the album came out this year, 3 or 4 years to compose it.
2 years and a half or so, because when I came back in 2016, I already had all the ideas, but I didn't record the first album yet. The first album was
really?
in 2017. So I had to stop these ideas for a while, publish the first album, and then start with this. So that's why it took a little longer.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it took a while.
I bet, yeah. But it's yeah, that's got to be a great feeling though, because of so much work poured. I'm sure that's your heart and soul and mind and everything gets poured right into that.
It was really personal. So when it was finished, I was so proud. Also, I was writing the lyrics for the first time, which I didn't do before, and I'm kind of happy with them. I'm kind of proud of the lyrics. So
that's great.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Now, for people who enjoy jazz, but maybe they only really get it on a surface level, because jazz can be intimidating for a lot of people, and people feel like if they don't really academically understand it, that they shouldn't listen to it, or they couldn't listen to it. So people like that, what should they listen for in your album to really draw the story that you're imparting, for them to draw it out of your playing? Is there any way that they should listen on a different or a deeper level that most people just don't realize about listening to jazz?
Okay, so the idea was that everyone could enjoy the album. I always think a lot about that some people, they try to listen, but they don't know how, and they don't connect. So also in the previous album, I was always really aware of that, and I was trying to do a extra hard job myself to make it accessible. And I think I did the job for this one. So I think if you just sit down and listen and let yourself like feel the rhythm and the groove, and listen to the voice, listen to the lyrics, I think it's pretty easy to follow, in my opinion. But I don't know, I think the idea of that you need to understand, well, maybe not, maybe you just put the music and feel it, and right. Just basically feel it and enjoy it. And I think it's pretty rhythmical. All the tunes are really like groovy and up tempos and stuff.
Yep.
Step 1 or 2. So I think it's like also easy to move along, and
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, as I was listening to it, I was definitely bopping, and my wife looked around the corner. So, what are you listening to in there? Man, this is a cool album. So people shouldn't be afraid of jazz, basically, is what you're saying.
No, I don't think so. And it's like everything. The more you listen, the more you understand. Like little by little, and the more you listen, the more it gets into your ear, and then you get to enjoy it. So it's just give it a try and go with the open mind. I think the open mind is super important for everything in life.
Right, absolutely.
Life is easier. I think just live concerts are much easier, because you can see the people, you can feel the energy, you see the interaction, when piano players are catching like the voices with this, and then they are looking at each other, and people enjoy this a lot. So I think when we play live, like live shows, is easier for them to grab.
Sure.
But
that was perfect segue. My next question was, COVID seems to be lifting a bit. I'm not sure how good it is in New York City. I live upstate New York, so everything's open here. But have you been able to play yet, or do you have anything scheduled yet to start playing the album and promoting it, or not? Is that still a bit off?
Yeah, I was playing one show in June, and then I'm working now to book something for the fall. So I think little by little things are opening. It's slow, and of course, it's New York City, so we are also hungry that everything is booked already for the summer.
Right.
But it's nice. The other day I was in Minton's, and people were playing there, and audience were there taking, the drinks and the food, and it felt like we are coming back. It was a really, really good feeling, and I hope it's gonna go right. People are also missing live music, like from the audience part.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, around here where I live, it's whenever there's live music now, it's mobbed. You can't park within a couple miles because everybody's
it's good
starving.
because I think like people realize how important it is, and they were sometimes taking it for granted because it was always there. And now pandemic came, and we were not allowed to go, me also as an audience, to listen to anyone live. And I think we realized that, like we shouldn't take it for granted. So I think people are more into going to the shows now, which is cool.
Do you think people maybe appreciate musicians a little bit more as well? Because, I think one thing, I could be wrong, but I feel like people take musicians for granted, and music, because it's everywhere. If you're in a shop, in a store, in a restroom, there's always music. And then now it's for the last, 2 years, year and a half, I don't even know, it's been so long, but it almost seems like it's been gone, and we've had to kind of been forced to just listen to pre-recorded stuff. Do you think that might help the industry in general?
I hope so. I think it's going to be a change. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from both sides, from musician side, and we are also kind of going to be more aware of the opportunities we get and be more ready for them. And from the audience side, I think they are going to go more into seeing shows and enjoying and respecting musicians a little bit more, hopefully.
Right, hopefully, definitely. Have you had much audience reaction or critical reaction to the album yet? Which it was released in April, I believe, correct? So it's been a few months. We
released in April. For the press, it took a while, but I think it was like super packed of new albums because, like after like the pandemic, everyone was releasing albums. So it took a little bit of time to pick up. It's picking up now. So I think I'm happy, like press are like giving me a good feedback. And from the audience side, it's been wonderful. Like, listeners are like just writing to me in the Facebook and private messages. They are like loving the album, like Spotify is growing. So I think people are really liking the CD.
That's fantastic.
So I'm really happy.
Do you think anybody in Africa that you might get invited to tour over there because of the connection that you have?
I hope. I have to work on that. The thing is, because we were really locked in that neighborhood, I didn't have many chances to network and to meet musicians from there, which was a pity, but it was what it was. It was the job. Mm-hmm. And I got an invitation during the pandemic to give a masterclass, or it was more like a talk in South Africa, in Pretoria. But it was through Zoom, obviously.
Okay, right.
But, I think like I'm going to have a look over there and see if I can make connections. I would love to make connections with people over there because I feel like family.
Right. Tumaini, the name of your album, it means hope in Swahili. So is the entire point of the album hope? And basically, what do you hope for? Whether it's for the album or yourself or for these kids you got to be with for a while?
I mean, hope is a big word. Sometimes I don't know if hope is good or bad. I think it's good. But, like we have to think on hope like in a balance, like not just hope and nothing else. Like hope plus action, I think is like the good balance of it. Mm-hmm. But I learned from them that they hope things are going to work out and they trust life and they trust each other. So that was one of the points for the hope title. And another thing is the hope they gave me, like to think that, people can still like, work together and do community and, care for each other. And also my hopes of like, the album going to as many people as possible. And, as always, like keep on growing and hope that things are going to happen. With a lot of work behind the hope. So, that was the point.
Great. Yeah. And that's what I love about it. It can mean so many different things. Well, this has been so fantastic. I love the album. I listened to it, obviously, as soon as I learned about it. And I was just fascinated by the story, but the music is incredible. And I was listening to a couple of the tracks on your first album. And it's, and I'll profess I'm not a jazz expert in any sense of the word. I just enjoy it, as you said. And I find both of your albums incredibly enjoyable. So thank you so much. I hope that you have great success with this. Now, if anybody is interested to learn more about you or your album, or even the organization you went with to Africa and found the Little Ray of Hope School, where can people find these things?
Okay, so first of all, I went there with bilingual Verdis. So they work here in New York and in the States in general. So if someone wants to check their programs or check a little bit more what they did in Africa, they have their website, bilingualverdis.com.
Okay.
Then Little Ray of Hope is running through donations. So they basically give food to the kids 2 or 3 times a day, and they give them education for free, and like they prepare them for high school and for middle school. They give them like medicines and school supplies. So if someone wants to help them out, their website is www.littlerayofhopeschool.com, and they will really appreciate that.
I will put that
and
with
they are
this,
fantastic.
absolutely.
They are fantastic, and that will be a whole other conversation about them. And they can find me in my website, which is bertamoreno.com. I'm in social media and Instagram, Facebook, like Berta Moreno Jazz. And if people write to me, I always reply, and I like to connect with people through social media. So feel free to write to me. And the album is available everywhere: Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, whatever it is. And in the Bandcamp, I have a page in Bandcamp, and you can get both of my albums, Little Steps and Tumaini. So
fantastic.
Thank you.
Excellent. That again was Berta Moreno. Thank you so much. And everyone, don't forget to check out our website, insidecoolmusicmag.com, our social media sites, sign up for our newsletter. If you have any comments or questions for Berta, or any comments in general, comment below, and we'll respond, and we'll ask her if she has response to any specific questions. And thank you so much again. This is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.